At 8:57 a.m. in Manchester, the office doors slammed open and every head turned as Liam Carter stumbled in, completely soaked, breathing hard, water dripping onto the floor. And before he could even speak, his boss, Daniel Reeves, looked at him once and said, "Don't bother explaining, you're fired." And just like that, it was over. No warning, no conversation, no second chance. And here's the part that makes it worse. Liam actually tried to speak, tried to say, "Sir, But Daniel had already turned his back, signaling security, ending his job in less than 10 seconds. And in that moment, standing there drenched, humiliated, and silent, Liam realized something painful. Sometimes you can do everything right and still lose everything in seconds. But what no one in that office knew, what Daniel didn't even care to ask, was what happened just 37 minutes earlier. Because on a quiet roadside under heavy rain, Liam had seen something he couldn't ignore. An elderly woman, stranded, alone, her car tilted, tire completely flat, cars speeding past her like she didn't exist. And Liam had a choice: keep driving and save his job, or stop and risk everything. And he stopped, stepping into the cold rain, kneeling on the wet road, hands shaking as he forced the rusted bolts loose, while the woman kept apologizing, telling him, "You're going to be late, please go." But Liam just smiled and said, "I can't leave you here," even though deep down he knew exactly what it might cost him. And when he finally finished, soaked to the bone, fingers numb, he didn't ask for money, didn't leave his name. He just made sure she was safe and drove off, straight into the moment that would cost him his job. And that's where most stories would end, but Liam's didn't, because losing the job wasn't the hardest part. What came after was, because days turned into weeks and no one was hiring. Rent piled up, savings disappeared, calls stopped getting returned, and slowly, everything began slipping. Until one night, sitting alone in the dark with his phone screen glowing and no new messages, Liam stared at his reflection and asked himself something he never thought he would. Was it even worth it? And that question stayed with him through the cold mornings, through the empty fridge, through the quiet walks back from places that said, "We'll call you," but never did. And then, on the other side of the city, something else was happening, because that same day, Daniel's mother sat across from her son, telling him about a stranger who stopped in the rain, who didn't hesitate, who didn't ask for anything. And for a moment, Daniel actually paused, because people like that were rare. And he said something he didn't expect himself to say. "I want to find him," even offering a reward, determined to thank the man who helped his mother. But there was a problem. No name, no number, nothing to trace. And while one man was searching to reward him, that same man was struggling just to survive. And then came the moment that changed everything, because one afternoon, under a gray sky, Liam stood on the side of the road doing a small cash job, fixing another tire, when a car slowed down beside him, and a familiar voice said, "Stop the car." And when Liam looked up, time froze, because stepping out was Daniel, and beside him, his mother, her eyes lighting up instantly as she pointed and said, "That's him, that's the man who helped me." And in that second, everything hit at once, because Daniel recognized him too, not as a stranger, but as the man he had fired without listening, without asking, without giving even a single chance. And for the first time, Daniel had no authority, no control, just silence, heavy and undeniable. And Liam, he didn't speak, didn't remind him, didn't defend himself. He just stood there, the same way he did that morning, quiet, and somehow that made it worse. And days later, something unexpected happened. Because Daniel didn't just apologize, he changed everything, bringing Liam back not just with a job, but with respect, restoring what he had taken, going even further than anyone expected, helping him get back on his feet, a car, a home, a life rebuilt. And in the end, the real twist wasn't the reward, it was this. The man who lost everything for doing the right thing was the only one who truly deserved to win. So be honest, would you have stopped that day knowing it could cost you everything? If you felt this story, subscribe for more powerful comeback and emotional stories, and comment where you're watching from: USA, UK, Canada, Australia, or any part of the world, and tell me if you want the next one even deeper.